Hey, GW coming to you live. Hey, real quick. Saw a movie over the weekend. It's a 1991 thriller that you guys might have missed because I know when it came out, I missed it because I wasn't a big Denzel Washington fan. Since that has changed, I mean, he's went on to do such classics as Devil in a Blue Dress and you know American Gangster. So anyway, the 1991 movie I'm talking about is a little hidden gem called Ricochet, in which stars Denzel Washington as Detective Nick Stiles and John Lithgow as the evil, and I mean sinister, Albert Earl Talbot Blake. It also has a supporting cast, which includes Ice-T as a guy named Odessa. He's very cool. Kevin Pollak, who plays Larry Doyle, who is Denzel's partner. Lindsay Wagner as D.A. Priscilla Brimley. Josh Evans is in this. He plays Earl Talbot Blake's assistant, but no name is given. Victoria Dillard as Alice, that's Denzel's wife. And Jesse Ventura, who plays prisoner Jake Chewalski. Mary Ellen Trainor is also in this too, as Gail Wallens. John Cothran as Councilman Ferris. He's been on a lot of cool stuff, that guy. But anyway, enough about the cast. We're going to break down the story and why you should watch it. Denzel Washington plays Detective Nick Stiles, an up-and-coming rookie cop who who busts John Lithgow's character Earl Talbot Blake in what seems like a routine drug deal. What follows is a Cape Fear-esque sort of battle of wits. And I got to tell you something. This movie to me is better than Cape Fear. There's a lot more action. And John Lithgow, his portrayal of Earl Talbot Blake is just sinister, psychotic to the max. I don't recall in Cape Fear Max Cady blowing away a bunch of cops. You'll see that in this. The movie actually was distributed by HBO. HBO used to be so big, guys, they used to put out their own films. This one, Highway to Hell, The Hitcher, they were all put out by HBO. And what subsequently happened with this film, guys, is that if you buy a DVD copy, it's not in the right format. I had an old copy I dug out because I read about the film. You know, I saw a YouTube video of it. I said, oh, I got that movie. Let me check it out. So the problem was it was never put out in the right aspect ratio. So instead of getting the full screen, back shot, we have close-ups. It's still pretty watchable to this day. I think it's on Stars, as a matter of fact. But it's not in the right, like I said, aspect ratio. So it's still watchable. You can still enjoy it. But is it perfect? No, far from it. And there's a good reason. Because HBO, and it's in a sort of a weird place between HBO, who distributed the movie, and Silver Pictures. And because this wasn't a really big, phenomenal hit for Denzel, the DVD release is sort of the same at best. Now, again, this doesn't make the film unwatchable. It just makes it a little bit weird to follow the action. In fact, the director of this film, you might know his name, is Russell McCullough. He went on to do The Mummy and a bunch of other cool stuff. But when you watch it, it seemed like for the first 20 minutes, he is really obsessed with close-ups of Ice-T and Denzel playing basketball, at least the intro. And I was like, okay, this is going to go, but it stayed in the same format. Then I read, like I said, this was not a big hit for Denzel. Denzel was trying to become an action star at this point, and that spotlight got taken by, you guessed it, Wesley Snipes. Think about that. Now, if this would have been a big hit for Denzel, it would have launched his career into an action star. But then, like I said, he went on to do American Gangster and Devil in a Blue Dress, countless other cool films that weren't so much action packed, which was more Denzel's more like giving a performance. And Denzel's great in anything, I'll tell you that. But when you watch this, this is a very underrated film because it gives Cape Fear a run for its money. The battle of wits between Denzel and John Lithgow's characters is just truly amazing. And it seems like a game of one-upsmanship. Nick Stiles' character tries to stay on the right side. In the middle of the movie, though, it gets kind of personal. And Ice-T's portrayal of Odessa is pretty cool. And he plays his role to a T, I'm telling you. But I caught this bad boy over the weekend. Like I said, Saturday morning I figured out, or Sunday morning I got up and I said, you know what, I'm going to check this out. And I wish I would have seen it back then. I wish I would have seen it right when it came out on DVD or HBO. But I waited. I recorded it. We moved into this house and we got everything known to man. So I decided to record everything, put on DVD, whatever. And I was very, very blown away. The story kept me engrossed and there was nothing that was boring about it. I mean, it's funny because, like I said, if you go story-wise, Nick Stiles busts Earl Talbot Blake. And what follows is Blake's descent into psychotic madness. I've never seen, at least again in Cape Fear, I've never seen Robert De Niro go toe-to-toe with another prisoner strapped with books all over their chest for protection in a medieval gladiator-style duel. You're going to see that in this film. It's very entertaining, very, very action-packed, and again, very, very bloody for a 91 film. And of course, at the end, you have Ice-T doing the theme song. But it's really an underrated thriller that, like I said, I mean, not too many people know about. Now, I remember seeing this movie, and I was like, you know what? This is at the time this movie came out, I was all into horror movies. And I kind of was like, you know what? Nah, not my kind of thing. And I was kicking myself when I saw it because, again, if this was put out like on a collector's edition Blu-ray with the right aspect ratio and somebody would have invested some time and money into this to make a good DVD collector's item, that would be cool. One more thing I want to talk about the film is if you notice, the one thing you will remember after you watch it, aside from the Ice-T track, Ricochet, which is played twice during the movie, once in the middle of the movie, roughly, and once at the end, you will remember an arm wrestling scene. Very interesting. And John Lithgow's portrayal of Earl Talbot Blake is just psychopathic to the max, man. I mean, there's nobody, at least in that time in the 90s, that could portray a psycho as good as John Lithgow. And John Lithgow, guys, can play anything. He could play a wicked psychopath. He's done it in this. He's done it in Raising Cain, if you guys haven't seen that film. But he's a very versatile actor, or was. I don't know if he still acts, but he played on The Twilight Zone, the remake of The Twilight Zone, guys. You remember that movie? And he played the passenger in a story called Nightmare at 30,000 Feet. And he embodies fear in that movie. If you guys remember the TV show, William Shatner played the actual passenger, but John Lithgow does it with a bit more emotion, a bit more believability, and you really believe that, this guy is going AWOL. Now, same in this movie. I mean, he does some stuff in here to Nick Stiles, Denzel's character, that's just There's a scene in the movie where Nick Stiles is actually, I don't want to say captured, but tied up. And John Lithgow's character, Earl Talbot Blake, is sitting right next to him. He goes, well, why don't you just kill me? He goes, and John Lithgow, Earl Talbot Blake, goes, you know what? Killing you is too easy. He's like, I'm going to destroy your whole life. And that's about the level of psychopathic wickedness that he brings to this role. And like I said, this movie, again, is a very underrated I think, a very underrated thriller, and it's on Stars or HBO Max, I believe. If you guys have any of those, check that out. And like I said, it's a gem that few people have seen. I think because then it didn't really do anything for Denzel, and later on, like I said, Denzel started becoming his own superstar. This was one of his first forays into film. You could check it out. And again, the action crown was taken by Wesley Snipes. Now, coincidentally, around this time too, Ice-T, who played Odessa, a side character, was actually in all kinds of movies. If you remember in the 90s, he was in New Jack City, Surviving the Game. He was in, all kinds of movies. Trespass with Ice Cube. So he was coming into his own. And again, you could track it back to his portrayal of Odessa. His time on the screen is very short, but it's powerful. And that's what works. So if you haven't checked out Ricochet, check it out. Very cool movie. Gives Cape Fear a run for its money. And really, that's about what I can say. Catch you later.